All right. Well, this should be even better. All right.
It is.
So, okay. Uh, uh, Starting last year, the electronics flea market in the Silicon Valley area was reinstated at a new location, and I checked it out last year and a couple weeks ago. So here's my video report. So first of all, it was held in Saratoga at West Valley College, and where the heck is that? So here's the Bay Area and Mountain View where I live, and zooming in a little bit, you see Palo Alto, and zooming in some more, you see Saratoga at the sort of at the bottom, and um, here we go. So this is West Valley College, where the event was held. And here's a map of how I got there. There's a vendor area and a parking area. Was about 3 rows of vendors, some additional vendors across here. It's free for buyers and for sellers. There's a cost. Parking fee is $3 for everybody. And here's some pictures. This is the sort of the front tents, and they have some donuts and drinks here, and behind it is the parking area. And so the first um, thing that I came to is a bunch of Xboxes in their own boxes. So there's a bunch of black ones and white ones, and so the vendors tend to be pretty specialized on occasion. So this is a case where this guy was just selling Xbox Xboxes and accessories for it. So these are Intel all-in-one computers. They're very small, and they have a limited amount of memory and features in them. But this is really nice stuff. If you want to, put one behind a monitor and stuff, and you can make an all-in-one. Um, and I didn't recall how much they were selling them for though. But there's a bunch of them. And here's a tabletop of cameras and flash accessories, uh, stuff, some analog cameras, some digital ones. This was a pretty neat exhibit. There's a guy that's been there almost every time that I've been there, selling refurbished laptops, some Macs and Lenovo's for $100 each. He refurbishes them and puts an operating system on them, and they're for sale. So it seems like a pretty good deal. As I recall, last year he had individual prices on each one, but this year they're all $100, and these are all ThinkPad Lenovo's of different processors and different model types and different screen sizes. Uh, it was interesting to see this analog tape recorder. Of course, I had one when I was much younger. Uh, this was interesting. This looked like a car radio, sort of set up that way, and it says Mustang on it, but it's actually a record player as well. So well, it has an AC cord in here, so it doesn't really seem to want to be in a car. But it was pretty interesting because I've never seen one of these before. Um, there's a Radio Shack soldering gun. That's the only one he had that was sort of interesting, Radio Shack. And for your ham radio operators, Heathkit sold this Cantenna. So basically, you plugged your cable in here, your transmission cable, and this was a can, it's like a paint can, and you'd fill it with oil, and that would be your load for your ham radio when you were, testing things out. So here's one of them that I saw. So that was pretty interesting. And of course, there's a bunch of ham radio gear available. Um, here's a I remember these when I was in ham radio when I was in high school, but these were old at the time, so they're even older now. And if you had a lot of money, you got the top of the line ham system, and that was called Collins S line, and they had whole messes of transmitters and receivers and amplifiers and stuff like that. There's lots of different options, and so here's one of them. I'm not sure if this was transmitter or receiver or transceiver or whatever, but they were very well made and pretty expensive. I'm sure Bill knows about these things as well as Doug. Um, there's a table of just random parts. Um, these look like new parts, but a lot of times it's just old stuff. Um, this is not what you typically find at an electronics flea market, but I took a picture of it anyway. And I took a picture of this Brownie Hawkeye camera because I remember my father had one of these when I was a kid, and I remember using them as well. They used film, which is still available. It's in a roll, and you'd open up the back of this thing and put it in there and close it up, and you advance the frames with this knob, and there's a right angle viewfinder here, and the shutter was over here, and there was an optional flash that you can attach on the side. My brother has one of these at home, and this was being sold for $5. I didn't know if it worked or not, but just a piece of memorabilia for me. So that was neat. This is like an HP computer with a paper tape and display, and I think this is a tape drive system here. And that was it. Anybody have any questions about this stuff?
Did you buy anything?
Not this time. They had some batteries there and odds and ends, but I didn't have a desire to buy anything at the time. Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you,
How
Dave.
much time do you spend hamming?
I haven't done any ham radio since I was in high school because when I went to college I didn't have I had other things to do, so I never got really back into it. But I did have a Hallicrafters transmitter and receiver and beam radio on uh, the roof of my apartment, and I did a small amount of stuff, listening and ham radio stuff. But once I got into college, that sort of went away. Didn't have the spare time I needed to continue doing that.
Was there a oh, what's the table that you can put your stuff on, single items, and get a
Consignment table?
was there a consignment table? Thank you.
I didn't see a consignment table.
Yeah, that was always the the thing at these flea markets. You don't want to bring enough stuff to have your own table, but if they don't have a consignment table, you're out of luck.
Yeah. So
Do you have time? Do you have spare time now?
Um, yeah, I have a little bit of time, during some of the year when I'm not teaching, but don't really have an interest that much anymore.
So what are you considering for your spare time?
Oh, just relaxing and working at Stanford and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Thank you.
All right.
These
Well,
just one more thing, Kevin. These flea markets have a long-standing operation in the Bay Area, and they've been in various places over the years at Foothill College and um, Cogswell near Cogswell College and stuff. And it seems to be a lot smaller than previous years, but it's still sort of fun to go to. And I enjoy it just because I have an opportunity to see things that I used to know about or work with or whatever, but I really don't have a desire to, you know, uh, buy stuff and, fix things and that. So I'm past that. But it's just interesting to go to and see what's available and talk to some people about this. I remember one time I went and I saw this 8-inch floppy drive, and I went up to it and it was a drive that I had when I was working at the VA. So I have no idea how it got from my lab space to electronics flea market, but it was sort of interesting to see.
Dave, how did you hear about the event in the first place?
Well, uh, when not sure how I first heard about it when it was at Foothill College and De Anza College, but there is a website that Mike posted, so that's how I kept in touch to see when it's going to be in the venue and stuff. And for a couple years they didn't have it, because of COVID and things. So anyway, it's a neat place to go. I'm not sure how efficient it is to sell things there, but it's just nice to see old stuff and say, oh yeah, I remember I had one of those and I used that in I remember that from college and stuff, test equipment, um, and things. So it's just it's neat to be reminded of this old technology. And I also like going to the Vintage Computer Festival held at the Computer History Museum, usually in beginning of August.
Did you see any fourth stuff there?
No fourth stuff at either the electronics flea market or the most recent Vintage Computer Festival, but sometimes they do have things there. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks, Kevin.
thank you, Dave. Uh, Furthermore, the next victim is Brad, and he's 2 steps ahead of me as always. We learned a valuable lesson not to run printers and Bill Ragsdale's video at the same time. I can't hear Brad.
Yeah, sorry about the audible noise. The challenge is I've yet to figure out how to present with Zoom when there isn't without presenting a recording without my microphone being on. Maybe there is some clever way to do that.
I think if you mute your mic in Windows
That's a good idea.
rather than in Zoom.
That would work.